They were strong. They were invincible. They were women. Profiles in cleavage. Women who made a difference. She called her left breast fame and her right breast fortune. And so they were to be. Busty Gusty, the anatomy of greatness. The greatness of anatomy. May 6th, 1937, 12:02 p.m., the Hindenburg plunges to its fiery fate. And at the same moment, an equally historic event occurs in the maternity ward of a Buffalo, New York hospital. She is born Inez Marie Hooper to an unemployed domestic and her common-law husband. From the beginning, it is clear that there is something special about little Inez. A musical prodigy, young Inez astounds relatives and neighbors with note-perfect renditions of classical favorites. Then suddenly, it is all over. Busty's parents, Martha and Fred Hooper, reside today in this modest Buffalo bungalow.
So what happened to little Inez?
She grew big tits.
Not tits, breasts.
One day she's playing the piano like nobody's business.
Like Van Cliburn.
Next day it's like she grows an extra pair of hands. Boom, boom, boom. Forget it.
That's not true. She was like another Horowitz. Such personality. Joie de vivre, esprit de corps.
She had big, big tits. That's it.
You want me to cry? That's what you want.
Go ahead, cry me a river. What else is new?
Inez's adolescent dreams of life on the concert stage diminish with each increment in the size of her brassiere. The final blow comes when her application to the Juilliard School of Music is rejected as, quote, an obvious vulgar hoax. With Carnegie Hall out of reach, Busty sets her sights on the Great White Way. Busty's first agent, a man who will identify himself only as Marvin, remembers the early days in New York.
You want Peppy too? Okay, you got it. Huh?
Do you remember Busty Gusty?
Are you kidding? I remember it like it was yesterday. Cancel that. I remember it like it was this morning. I mean, a thing like that you don't forget, believe me.
How did it happen?
What?
The first time you saw her.
Saw who?
Busty Gusty.
Busty. Oh, Busty Gusty. Oh, she was a biggie. Big star, Lollapalooza. Wow, she had knockers bigger than Bridgeport. Hitler should have had them for tonsils.
And the first time you met her?
Who?
On July 12th, 1954, Inez Marie Hooper legally changes her name to Busty Gusty and her twin Fifties and creates a sensational new act. For Busty, it is a short walk from her 42nd Street debut to the elegant confines of the Stork Club, where she mixes with the cream of cafe society. With typical discretion, she insists that she and the century's greatest thinker are just good friends. With the dawn of the 1960s, President Kennedy invites Busty to join him for a memorable weekend at the Kennedy family compound in Hyannisport. A rare interview gives insight into her relationship with the young president.
What do you and the president talk about?
This and that?
Literature? Politics?
Sure.
How would you describe your relationship with Mrs. Kennedy?
Who?
Mrs. Kennedy?
That bum? He told me he was single.
Are you involved in literature?
In a surprise guest appearance on What's My Line,
Do you work with an instrument?
Busty stumps the blindfolded celebrity panelists who are convinced that she is Eleanor Roosevelt. And then, inexplicably, her popularity begins to sag. In 1962, Busty's career hits bottom when she opens for a trained dog act at a Shriners convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But the worst is yet to come. While playing an engagement at the Boom Boom Room in Hoboken, New Jersey, an anonymous tip leads police to the discovery of a marijuana cigarette in her dressing room. Busty insists that the so-called reefer has been planted by a jealous rival, a small-time stripper who worked under the name Cherry's Jubilee. Although charges are eventually dropped, Busty discovers that the George Jessels and the Peter Lawfords of the world are no longer so eager to be photographed in her company. The end of Camelot finds Busty in a more reflective mood. Moving to Hollywood in 1964, she shares this modest bungalow with actress Agnes Moorehead. Plans for the two women to tour in a revival of George Bernard Shaw's Don Juan in Hell meet with open derision. Busty, a lifelong teetotaler, seeks solace in frozen daiquiris and pina coladas. The times, they were a-changin'. Forsaking Hollywood in 1967 for San Francisco's North Beach, Busty drops her longtime agent Marvin and replaces him with another agent, Moondog. The much-touted opening of her topless discotheque, Tits-A-Poppin', fails to resuscitate her fast-deflating career. Of the glittering list of celebrities invited to the gala, only character actor Arnold Stang actually shows up. The demise of Tits-A-Poppin' leaves Busty despondent and disillusioned. The summer of love has become the winter of her discontent. Determined to stay afloat, Busty enrolls at the University of California at Berkeley, and the radicalization of an American icon begins. Feminist Betty Friedan urges Busty to use her unique cultural status to help shape the women's movement. Alas, it is fatal advice. At a 1972 bra-burning protest at Sarah Lawrence College, Busty fans the flames with her legendary brassiere. All told, 43 young women are treated for smoke inhalation and released. Busty is not so lucky. She is laid to rest on November 4th, 1972. Not since the death of Valentino has there been such an outpouring of public grief. The emotional high point of the service is provided by the surprise appearance of her first agent, Marvin.
Who died?
Truly, greatness was thrust upon her. As critic Kenneth Tynan wrote in his famous New Yorker magazine profile, she was more than a star, she was the whole fucking Milky Way. Busty asked for this simple, moving epitaph. Funding for Profiles in Cleavage has been provided by the following institutions: